What's going on, guys? I hope you all are doing well this afternoon. I just wanted to cover some things uh, that I found very interesting in the Bitcoin charts. I've been doing Ethereum as of late, but Bitcoin's looking really interesting this past couple of days. But anyway, I'm going to jump right into it on the daily. So each candle here is a daily chart. A daily price action. Um, well, as you can see in this diagonal yellow line, this was long-standing resistance for the past, I believe, 340 days to be exact. Um, yeah, yeah, around 342, 340 days. Um, well, we broke it about a couple days ago, 4 days ago to be exact. From the wick bottom, I like to look at where the wicks are kind of meeting up, just as a reference. I prefer candle closes myself, it's more definitive in terms of price action. But we do have some form of support. Excuse me, we do have some form of support here. Almost 2% worth of support. On the daily candle close perspective, we have pretty much consistent standing support at 18.4K. I love it. Now, there is this underlying resistance line here that has been active for the past, well, the inflection point is 88 days. But as it stands, it's been pretty much consistent resistance for the past a little over 2 months. Now we do have this kind of triangle pattern here from the green line to the dotted red line. We do have some form of a triangle pattern. These are predominantly leaning bearish when you have a flat bottom and a diagonal downward sloping line. So I am keeping my eye on the developments. I want to see on the daily perspective, can 18.4 hold? Or can the bulls actually break above this resistance line, this red line? That I'm keeping my eye on. Now, I would be ultra bullish, and keep in mind this is a daily thing, so what I'm talking about can play out. It could take months. I repeat, months to play out. So please don't rush into anything. Not financial advice, right? But like, I'm keeping my eye out on the resistance line at 22.384, basically 22.4K roughly. If I see a daily candle close above that line, then that's going to trigger an interesting pump, in my opinion. I think breaking this long-standing resistance line will eventually lead to a pump, but we do have a range. We are stuck in this range, basically a 33% range. So price could theoretically bounce within this area for a while before we see any significant trend build up, whether it's to the downside or to the upside. But nonetheless, this has been long-standing resistance for almost a year, basically, and we broke it. This is huge to me. Obviously, there is an inflection point from the green horizontal line to the downward sloping red line at November 10th, roughly. Now, I do think we're going to see a reaction a little bit before that, whether if it's to the downside or to the upside, but ultimately, if we do break this support line, I would expect prices to come down lower. Yeah, I would even say maybe like retest the wick bottoms at 16 point, what was it roughly? Yeah, 16.3 or maybe even come all the way back down here to 12.4. That's to be determined, of course, but what I do know is that we do have downward sloping support on this yellow line. So if there were to be any form of reversal, it would be a back test of this line before there was any significant moves on a daily chart perspective. But anyway, I found that pretty interesting, to be honest. As you can see on Market Cipher Indicator, momentum is still to the downside on a daily perspective, but on the 3-day, we did have a buy signal on the 3-day, but it got nullified. So we do have some turbulence afoot. I'll go to the daily chart. Yeah, let me go to the 2-day. Yeah, let's go to the weekly. It was the weekly. There you go. The weekly has turned to the upside. There's been turbulence, but we did have a buy signal a few weeks ago, and it's going to be a slow grind to the upside in terms of momentum. It's going to take a while, which kind of aligns up with my chart candle analysis. But yeah, on the 4-hour, we did have a buy signal basically like 12 hours ago. The volume weighted average price indicator, which is this yellow line, is pointing to the downside, so that's not boding too well for momentum. As you can see, if I zoom in, I don't know if you can tell, but you see this like light blue little wave area? We're kind of literally like sideways. See, the dark blue area is still pointed to the upside, but the light blue, the layer in the bottom, is literally going sideways. But nonetheless, there is a push going in regards to momentum. We did have this divergence play out here from point A to point B, so that is leading to some sell momentum. There is an inflection point here at 18.4, so I would expect a reaction if prices to continue dumping to the downside. Ultimately, I'm keeping my eye on the prize. We could even go from like a 4-hour perspective in regards to trend. I like to go off the daily, it's just easier, takes less time. But from the 4-hour perspective, we do have a downward sloping resistance line playing out right here. And if we use the daily resistance, now flipped as support, if we do use that, we do kind of have this like downward sloping, a descending broadening wedge is the proper term. We do have that playing out. I would like to see support hold on the 4-hour candle close at 18.7. That would give me way more confidence of price going to the upside. But if you want to front run the daily, essentially, if you see a 4-hour candle close below 18.744, then yeah, you could expect price to go to the downside. Probably have one of these like crazy wick action scenarios. But yeah, honestly, if the daily does break below 18.4, then yeah, like we're probably going to see some pretty significant move to the downside before anything else. Alright, well, I'm going to leave it at that. I think that was pretty fruitful. I mean, if you want to go into these indicators here, we do have waning momentum. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at these. Might as well give it a shot. I haven't talked about these indicators in a long time. Alright, but we do have momentum heading to the downside. But the histograms are kind of showing waning momentum to the downside and slowly rounding about. We're kind of doing that, so that's something to look forward to. Now, TSI is showing momentum is still to the downside. Looks like there's actually a rejection, funny enough. Oof. Alright, so from the 4-hour, as long as price, and this is a key level to keep your eye on, As long as, oh, this is, hold up, this is Ethereum, my goodness. I almost gave you some bunk ass data. My apologies. There you go. Sorry about that. But nonetheless, we are seeing some momentum. Same thing with Bitcoin. Um, ever so slightly, momentum is trying to point to the upside. Uh, it could take a little while longer though. But okay, as long as price is below, I'm going to type in the numbers here. I believe it was 19,196. So as long as price is below 19,196, we can expect continuation to the downside. So far, price is getting rejected off of that level, so that's something I'm keeping my eye on. But from a 4-hour perspective, there's still a lot of time to be had, frankly. We did kind of get a lower low instance of ever so slightly lower low from here to here. So ultimately, yeah, got to rely on 18.7. I would doubt to see 18.7 to be back tested given to where the TSI is relative to everything else. Same thing here, because I'd feel more comfortable at kind of coming back and maybe even creating a higher low instance. Just haven't seen that yet. Technically, it'd actually be something like this. But yeah, if you see the slow moving average break through, then yeah, it's more likely going to head to the downside. We are at an inflection point, really. A key one at that. And I think that yeah, this is the double MACD indicator. Still points to the downside. Momentum, fast moving momentum is kind of like getting rejected off the slow moving average, which is the red line here. So I don't really like that. And the slow moving average is now pointing down. Oof, this is actually important from my perspective, because we do have like this consistent rejection here. And it looks like price wants to go back into the bearish control zone. But there is a trend to be revealed here. So at the moment, yes, the RSI is in the bearish control zone, but there is a trend. So if it breaks trend and goes below this line, is continuing even lower, then yeah, I could expect some significant bear action. But what I'm looking at now is potentially a retest of this momentum line. Seeing a little bit of similar things here. The slow moving average here, this blue line on the TMA, is getting rejected. But we did interact with the downside more than the top side. We haven't even touched the top side in some time. So could this just be a reset to then try to break above the slow moving average? I could see that. I could see that. Still a lot of time in the day to figure that out. Let me go to the lower moving averages just to kind of get a better assessment on the day-to-day type of transactional stuff. Yeah, momentum is heading to the downside. Could we see something more so like this, maybe? Could probably see something like that. This could be the reset before. But yeah, no sell signal just yet. And the MACD is actually pointing to the upside, so interesting. This could just be the calm before the storm for the movement to the upside. But like I said before, it's better to kind of just wait and see. There is a definitive bearish engulfing candle on the 4-hour. So there could be a better entry point than where it is now. Um, so keeping my eye on that. But overall, from a daily perspective, and that's more important for me right now, we are above a key resistance level. Now, could we go lower and backtest? Of course we can. But ultimately, I feel like this trend is pretty much determined. Whoops. There we go. Right here. So from the wick top, delete that. Yeah, from the white dotted lines here, it's pretty much the range that Bitcoin is in. It's pretty huge. But ultimately, these diagonal lines are more important to me. Frankly, the daily is more important to me. But yeah, we're at a key level. In the next couple days, we will determine a trend. Hopefully, from my perspective, hopefully it's to the upside. I have my doubts, obviously, but breaking this 340-day plus resistance was low-key big news. So I had to jump in today and kind of give that assessment. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for sure this time. Have a great rest of the day. I hope you are doing well and everything's hunky-dory on your end. Yeah, if you haven't already, please like this video. I sincerely appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, yeah, please do so. But I'll just uh, leave it at that. But also, oh yeah, please let me know. What do you think we're going to be doing in the comment section? Yeah, just let me know. Do you think we're going to go up to the upside? We're going to go to the downside? I would love to hear your assessment. All right, take care. Peace.